Hey folks, hope it's not too windy. So, shiny new clutch slave cylinder fitted, shiny new release bearing fitted, exhaust manifold tied up out of the way a little bit with some nice string, and new engine on beast of an engine crane. Love this thing. So I thought I'd give you a before shot. Hole. Engine. Going in hole. See you soon. Good morning. As you can tell, it's the next day, and as you can also tell, the engine is not in the hole. My wife and I, she's fabulous. I don't know what she sees in me. Anywho, we tried. We're gonna call yesterday a trial run. We got literally to within 20 millimeters of lining up back of the engine with bell housing. 20 millimeters. We were that close. But despite lots of wiggling and lots of up and down and lots of levering and a fair bit of swearing on my part, the engine did not want to go back that last 20 mil. I'm really hoping that it had something to do with the position I had the release bearing in. It was further forward than where you see it now. Rookie mistake, I'm guessing. Never done this before, remember? And maybe just where the release bearing was sitting was just preventing the engine from going back that last little bit. So we've had a bit of a fiddle. Oh, we had to stop going out to dinner with some wonderful friends, which was important. Otherwise I would have, I don't know. Anywho, next day, subsequently done a couple of things. I'd hate to meet the person who did up the oil filter on this, but it took a fair bit of effort to get that off because it was fouling this wee bracket, which is support for the oil cooler, and our shiny new engine mounts that were fitted to the engine. We thought it might help to take them off yesterday, so they're not there anymore. But yes, plan is we try again. Lift it in, down, and then clonk. Probably could have put bolts through the holes yesterday because, you know, the bolts we were within 20 mil. That would have probably just about gone through and might have even caught, but I would much rather know that it was sitting in there without needing to be pulled in. Anyway, alright. Take two. Excuse the wonderful neighbour mowing his lawns. He came over to help because we couldn't do it again. Turns out that shaft there is about 20 mil in diameter, and that hole there is not. As you can see, there's a wee bush in there that is already quite munted, but that little bugger right there he has to come out, otherwise this engine's not going in. Anyone got a genie in a bottle? Slide hammer or shock hammer would do it, but I don't have one. The wonderful neighbour has suggested filling the hole full of grease and then putting a rod of some very close diameter in the centre, whacking it, forcing the grease to the back and behind the bush, and push the bush out, hydraulic pressure. Because we did peer in there with a torch and the bloody thing doesn't go all the way back, there's a gap behind it. Anywho's, bugger, bugger, bugger. Whoop whoop. Yep, it's in. So turns out yesterday's trial run was never going to be a success due to this little guy being in the end of the crankshaft of new engine. And as you can probably see, the marking on it was where we were banging it up against the input shaft of the gearbox and the bell housing. So it had to come out. I made myself a slide hammer, or slam bar I think my neighbour calls it. Luckily we had this big coarse thread on it, which just happened to fit that hole. Threaded it in there and then used a bit of a weight. This tool I made for, oh that's right, doing the bushes on wee moored rear pivot bushes, and came out super easy. Then discovered my high-tech clutch alignment tool. What is it? 22mm or thereabouts. Pop the clutch back on, lift her up, donk. We did have a bit of trouble aligning up our shiny new engine mounts. I hope you can see it back there. There it is. Pays to keep them a little bit loose on their bolts, of course. You probably knew that. They're in. Interestingly, that one's already assumed the same shape as the old one that came out. It's parallelogrammed already, whereas that one is maintaining its shape. And yeah, all the bolts are back in from bell housing to new engine. Whew. Getting quite good at this now. 2 failed attempts and third time lucky. And the funny thing is that the bonnet almost closes on my modifications. So the plan is to probably leave everything exactly as it is to try and get this motor to work. Yep, doesn't come with a fan, so I'm very keen to fit an electric fan to my radiator and delete the fan altogether, and probably retain the alternator off this motor just for the time being. I think we bought this on the understanding that it was in good going order, but yes, yet to find that out. My wonderful wife did manage to spot, I don't know whether you can see it, down in there. Probably can't. Soz. Bit dark. One of the head studs, bolts, is broken off and sheared into the hole. So that was a bit exciting. Anywho, there she is. Looks a bit racy, don't you think? Go like a rocket. See you.